I'm a god. I have been stabbed, shot, poisoned, frozen, hung, electrocuted, and burned. Every morning I wake up without a scratch on me, not a dent in the fender. I am an immortal.
You are listening to Deconstructing Bill Murray. I am Frank, and with me is Ray McGuff.
Hello.
It's been a while since we took a trip into the Bill Murray realm with Ghostbusters in October.
Right.
This one was delayed a little bit because Ray had the sickness. He was down with the sickness.
I was very much.
And so here we are. We're going to hit it. 1984's The Razor's Edge. This is the film that Bill Murray... I'll be honest, I'm impressed that he got this made because this movie is expensive as fuck, I bet.
Right.
I don't know what the budget was, but they went to actual locations that seemed right. Am I right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the planes and all that stuff.
They basically did the front line. They redid the front line battlefield of World War I. Yeah. Which just blew my mind.
Just that the first quarter of this movie was really expensive, just the era vehicles and stuff, but we'll get into it. Summary for this movie: he had everything and wanted nothing. He learned that he had nothing and wanted everything. He saved the world and then it shattered. The path to enlightenment is as sharp and narrow as a razor's edge. Directed by John Byrum, most recently known for writing 2000s duets with Huey Lewis and Gwyneth Paltrow and Paul Giamatti. I haven't seen that.
But I haven't either, but I heard that got pretty good reviews too when it came out.
Yeah, I think there's a popular song that came out of that movie.
It's called Let's Duet.
But no, there's a Huey Lewis Gwyneth Paltrow song. I'm assuming it came from that movie. This is based on W. Somerset Maugham novel. I don't know how to say that. It is with a screenplay by John Byrum and Bill Murray. Few cast highlights for this movie. Theresa Russell. I'm not really that familiar with her, but she had an expansive IMDb. The only role that I thought maybe you might have seen her in was Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I've seen Spider-Man 3. Yeah.
I don't know what her character was or anything, but she plays Sophie McDonald. Catherine Hicks, who you will remember from Child's Play. She was the mother in Child's Play and also the mother in Seventh Heaven, which I didn't know until I looked this up. She plays Isabel Bradley. Denholm Elliott, who you will remember as Marcus Brody from Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. He plays Elliot Templeton.
He's great.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
James Keach as Gray Maturine. This guy played the motorcycle cop on National Lampoon's Vacation. You know, when he pulls him over for the dog.
Hello, officer. What's the problem?
Get out of the car.
I don't think I was speeding. Was I weaving or something?
Shut your mouth, sir. You know, if I wasn't in uniform, I'd split your skull with the butt of this revolver faster than you could say police brutality.
Well, officer, whatever it is I've done, I'm sure I can explain.
Explain this, you son of a bitch.
Oh, my God.
You know what the penalty for animal cruelty is in this state?
No, sir, I don't.
Well, it's probably pretty stiff.
Oh, you can't think I'd do this on purpose, sir. Look, I tied him to the rear bumper when I was packing the car. It was very confusing. I must have forgot. I'm very sorry. I feel terrible.
How do you think that little dog feels?
Look, I told you I was sorry. It really was an accident.
Yeah. Well, I guess I can buy that, sir. But it is a shame. I had a pooch like this one when I was a kid. Poor little guy. Probably kept up with you for a mile or so. tough little mutt. Yeah.
Afraid you'd get pulled over, Clark. You've been exceeding the speed limit for thousands of miles.
Dad wasn't speeding. The cop stopped us because Dad forgot to...
He was speeding, Rusty.
No, he wasn't, Mom.
Russ, listen to your mother. I was speeding. I was driving like a maniac. We can all be grateful to this man for stopping us. You see, kids, a car...
Here's the leash, sir. I'm going back to get the rest of the carcass off the road.
You can, if you look at him, you can tell he's Stacy Keach's younger brother.
Right.
This guy has some great trivia. He has twin boys with Jane Seymour. Johnny Cash was the godfather of his son John, and Christopher Reeve was the godfather of his son Chris.
Wow.
Along with his wife Jane Seymour, hosted a private wake for David Carradine at their home, which was attended by Steve Railsback, Sally Kirkland, James Cromwell, Vicki Roberts, Rob Schneider, Daryl Hannah, and other luminaries. I didn't know that Rob Schneider was a luminary, but
yeah, I think they're stretching it for Rob there.
Yeah,
they could have left him out and said luminaries, and then including Rob Schneider.
And Rob Schneider he was up for the role of Freddy Krueger in the Wes Craven film Nightmare on Elm Street before turning it down to a scheduling conflict. So if things would have just went slightly different, he would have been Fred Krueger. Also, longtime friend of Glenn Campbell, just to throw that in. Peter Vaughan, I think is how you say it, plays Mackenzie. This guy, Mackenzie's the character in the coal mine. He's in there real briefly. He's Bill Murray saves his life. I wanted to mention him because he is in Time Bandits. Have you seen Time Bandits?
Yeah, I recognized him right away when he first started talking.
There's this ogre that is married to, or he's the husband of, what's the lady from Who's the Boss? What's her name? I can't remember her name. I can't even remember her name on Who's the Boss.
Wasn't Angela?
Mona. But he's this ogre that is living on a boat that is actually a giant's hat. Crazy. But he's in a ton of stuff. You'll recognize him from something. And then, of course, you have Brian Doyle-Murray at the beginning of this movie. You know who the fuck Brian Doyle-Murray is. I don't have to explain. I think he would have been the star of this if they would have let him live, because he was fantastic. I loved his character at the beginning, which, speaking of the budget, we said, they had to recreate all this era clothing and vehicles and stuff.
Yeah, this is World War One.
Yeah.
And then into the 1920s and 30s.
And so just the damage that they do to these vehicles at the beginning had to cost a lot of money, because those are definitely actual era vehicles. They look like it to me. But the beginning of the movie sets everything up with a setting that seems unrealistic. It kind of looks like a Norman Rockwell painting. It's really weird to see like these foppish characters like Denholm Elliott. It's like a bunch of rich people. He's the rich father of the Bill Murray's love interest at the beginning, who is Isabel, which I don't want to say that all white women look the same, but I kept switching Isabel and Sophie. I was like, which one's he with? Who's he with? Which one? But the Denholm Elliott is eating a sloppy ass chili dog with these gloves on and everything. It made me laugh because I'm like, did they even have those back then? Seemed kind of out of place. Which, speaking of that, this movie is very well made. The only thing that I think stands out, like I said, is Bill Murray. Like, he seems out of place, but the beginning war segment, they should have put that at the end of fucking Stripes, because switch those characters out. That's what the end of Stripes should have been. That's kind of serious war situation. I don't know. I liked that. I read that the eulogy that he gives to Brian Doyle, because they're fighting, and Brian Doyle gets stabbed with a bayonet and dies. And he says like this whole eulogy about him. That was actually inspired by John Belushi. So it was like basically his sending off of John.
He was a slob. Did you ever see him eat? Starving children could fill their bellies on the food that ended up on his beard and clothes. Dogs would gather to watch him eat. I never understood gluttony, but I hate it. I hated that about you. He enjoyed disgusting people. Being disgusting, the thrill of offending people and making them uncomfortable. He was despicable. He will not be missed.
Wow.
Which is kind of, it was him talking about him being sloppy. Did you ever see him eat? You know, yeah. It's very.
Now, are we? We're just still in the trivia portion. Yeah.
We can start talking about the movie altogether.
Okay. I just wanted to say something real quick about the that beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it reminded me very much of the Robert Redford movie, The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
That opening, but when somebody was like, it really felt like somebody was like, let's do that opening, but with Bill Murray.
Right.
You know, right? Because the beginning is like your classic Bill Murray. He's happy-go-lucky. He's busting chops.
Yeah.
You know,
he right out of the bat, he sexually assaults that girl.
Yeah.
But no, I was okay with that because he was in a relationship with her. You know, like if we look at Meatballs, when he does that to Roxanne or whatever, like that attacks her on the couch, it's very undefined, their relationship.
So you're thinking that this girl has been used to his antics at this point.
Yeah, like that's the kind of stuff you would joke around about. Like I take what I want. Like if you're already in a relationship, but previously in Meatballs, he was very much just taking what he literally taking what he wanted.
It caught me off guard, and I guess I was just in the mood for this movie because I was sick. Like I got sick right after we announced what we were gonna do.
Yeah,
and I was stuck on my couch for 2 weeks. And I was like, I was just in the mood for something like this, man. To me, it plays like 4 different films all stitched together. Yeah, and I loved every minute of it, though.
I think that they shot it like in a linear fashion. And the only reason I think that is because, like you had said, by the end of the film, Bill Murray kind of finds his pace. He kind of finds the groove and the way to do this. So we might actually be seeing him beginning to understand how to be a dramatic actor, because I don't think he had it at the beginning. It was very much like they just dropped Bill Murray in an Oscar award-winning film, like as a joke or something. But
I liked what you told me earlier when you texted me. You're like, if William Hurt had been the main character in this movie, it would have won Oscars.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, the guy that did the cinematography, Peter Hanan, he had won several awards. They weren't Oscars, but they were like BAFTAs or something like that. He previously did The Meaning of Life and Club Paradise. His most recent project was Absolutely Anything. It's a Simon Pegg movie with Kate Beckinsale. I haven't seen that. I've thought about hit and play on it because it's always popping up, but he did a great job with some of the shots at the beginning, like with when it gets to the war portion, where they're going, he's moving through the trenches, or when the soldiers are carrying their stretchers through all the bodies in the war zone. That was, I mean, it's great.
That was what was cool to me, was to see this happy-go-lucky Bill Murray character kind of change after that, right?
Right.
So yes, he's going there thinking that his job is going to be easy. Just driving down, picking these people up, driving them back. And by the end of it, he's lost friends, Brian Doyle, a couple of the guys that they rode with get exploded, like on the road back,
Yeah.
And then he sees death in a way that I can only imagine, I'd love to read this book, I think, at some point.
Or watch, there's a original film version of this from, I don't remember what year it was.
I think it was the 30s. I looked it up.
That might be interesting too. Yeah, when he does come back, they have this like party get together.
Yeah.
It's a rich person. It's clearly very privileged. They have polo happening. This is why I think, it's the expense of this movie. Like to have a polo scene, you don't see that shit ever. Like outside of a
Right.
cartoon, when do you see people play polo in a movie? I mean, they have to get all those horses and rent them out and.
Right.
But what a dumb activity that is, anyways. But the thing that I thought was off-putting about Bill Murray when he comes back is if he could have avoided like goofballing around completely, I would have been so much better, because he goes at one point, he goes on this whole monologue about how he's unhappy and he's not the fun guy that he used to be around. And he's telling this to Isabel, I believe,
Mhm.
is who he's with at this point, because he gets around. But right before he goes into this monologue, he was in the pool and he was flopping around making seal noises and stuff. So if he could have just not did that, like I think it would have made it more solemn and like worked better. But like I said, he finds his groove. Now, totally unrelated to the film altogether. You watched this on Crackle, right?
Was it Crackle or Tubi? Crackle, I think. Yeah.
I watched it on Crackle, and
yeah,
the I will say the commercial quantity on there is almost criminal. I've watched, I mean, Tubi and Pluto, I think, are doing it way better. You do get commercials, but fuck, like 4 in a row every 10 minutes or something like that, or 20 minutes.
I think the runtime on this is 2 hours and some change, and it took me over 3 hours to watch it.
Yeah.
So,
and like, it's always like diabetes medicine. They must know what my life's like. But I think the overall theme you should take away from The Razor's Edge is that not every romantic conflict can simply be resolved with a surprise organ grinder monkey combo followed by a motorcycle sidecar ride to a fancy French restaurant. You really got to like take a life journey, really live life, and then come back and then still not be with that lady.
Right. Well, I think that's what the whole second act is he tells her that he doesn't want to be married. He wants to go live his life for a while because of all the death. And then he ends up going to Marcus. I call him Marcus the whole time.
Yeah.
But to see Marcus and that's not his name, but the rich old man from Raiders of the Lost Ark and the other Indiana Jones movie. But he goes to Paris, to France, and he really finds something there that he didn't have in America. To me, I thought it was a level of freedom. Like he got to read, like that was his whole thing, is he wanted to read every book he could find on philosophy and get a kind of a better idea of what makes a man or a person, right? So it gave him time to think and reflect on what he had saw and what he wanted to become, right? What to do with his life. Does he just want to get married and have kids and that's that, or there's so much death in front of him at that time. He was like, hey, there's got to be more, right? So
the thing that the thing I guess that bothered me the most about their relationship was that I wanted him through the whole movie to be like, fuck you, because first of all, she comes to France. He's living a happy life. It's not upper crust. It's very much poor, but he's living just barely. He just gets by with what he needs.
He's enjoying himself for the first time, I think.
And although it would be disheartening for someone who comes from a rich situation to go in this shared bathroom type apartment complex with rats and with hissing cockroaches. They always use those. Those aren't the kind they get in your fucking apartment. Those are the kind you have to buy in Madagascar, and then But she was shitty there. She left. She went back. Just didn't even tell him. Went back. Ended up getting married to his friend.
His other friend that went to war with him.
Yeah. And then they have 2 kids. It kind of goes pretty fast, but she's also really a piece of shit at the end of this movie, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But
she believes, this is kind of what I took from it, is her upbringing believed that she was entitled to that life, right? Marcus even says to her at one point, like, because he lives in this giant chateau, you know, with all the stuff that could be in museums and as like your furniture, and he says to her, "You belong in a place like this." And if everybody's always telling you you're fucking special, you know, then you're gonna believe it, right? Bill Murray's character was never like that. Even at the beginning, he was wealthy with friends, but I never believed for a minute that his character was on board with that kind of life, right? So her whole thing is, I'm going to be regal, and his thing is, I want to find out why I want to do this to begin with, you know, like this life, you know.
Yeah, and I really do think that Denholm Elliott, how his character Elliott Templeton, you call him Marcus, he is really cool, calm, and collected. Bill Murray comes in after she leaves and kicks the shit out of this heirloom-looking footstool, like smashes it all to pieces, and he's totally cool with it. Apologizes, like, sorry she left. I would not be that cool about that. I'd be like, dude, fuck you. I don't care if she's a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. Get out of here. You know, like, really. But
I think he says something really cool, like, I've broken that before myself, or something like that, you know.
I think he said something about, I've stumbled through here in the dark and bumped. I don't remember exactly what it is, but
and that's what sets Bill's character on this new path to find enlightenment. And this is, for me, where the story really gets cool.
This is where he sort of finds figures, you know, he doesn't make any, I don't think he makes any choices that, like, I think that flopping out of the pool like a seal was a Bill Murray choice, and I think that he decided not to do more stuff like that later on. There's some little tiny tastes of it that he gives, you know, at the when he's shopping later, and he does like a little bit with the, you know, the weird items he's pulling out of the store, but
or the boat guy.
But you know, and I think that Bill does an apt job, but this movie is really enjoyable because of the cast, like the overall character actors in every scene. Everybody he interacts with on his path are so built out and like developed. You know who they are. You don't have to ask any questions about any of the characters. And I really appreciated it when they gave Catherine Hicks a different haircut than Theresa Russell. Like, it was more defined. Theresa Russell had like a blunt kind of thing going on, and she was drunk for a good portion of the movie.
That was her character.
That made him very easy to separate. But there's surprising, you know, for a Bill Murray movie, there's so much like sad shit in this. You know, there's like a miscarriage, there's a car crash, there's a death of a son and a father, and then, you know, there's a lot of death in it overall. But it's I think it's a nice walk through this character's life, like, to go on the journey with him. And you do, like I said, this had to be expensive because they went to all these locations.
Oh man, beautiful, some of them. What's it called? The temple that he gets to, that we haven't even touched yet. But with that whole vista, man. Is
that the one where? Where's he at when he starts giving out money to those kids?
That's in India. So he goes to the coal. He works in the French coal mine. Meets the dude that was the brother, right? Stacey Keach's brother. He saves his life in the coal mine, and he starts telling him about this book that he read, and it changed his life. Remember? And then he gives it to Bill Murray. He reads it, and then he wants to go find the Dalai Lama in India. Well, he has to get to India to get to the mountains.
And when he gets to India, he gives a little bit of money to a kid, and then another kid comes up, and a bunch of other kids come up. This shit, and then they end up chasing him.
It scared the shit out of me.
This shit reminded me of, we watched an episode of No Reservations with Anthony Bourdain. He was in Haiti, and it was less dramatic than that, but kind of a parallel experience he had. He was, you know, it's like terribly poor there. They had this is like right after they had a horrible earthquake and a hurricane, and they were having another one coming in, and he was eating at some, you know, roadside thing. And, they have money. So he's got several different plates of stuff. All these kids start gathering around, and like teenagers and then some older people. And so he's like, well, we can probably pay for these people to have a meal. Well, they did that. And then people just started lining up, and fighting each other over it and stuff, because he bought all the portions that this woman had. And so they were fighting in the streets, and he's like, this is an instance of, this going side, trying to do something. You think you're doing the right thing, and you don't think about the consequences. And that's exactly what he runs into with these kids chasing him. But he ends up going up and living with the monks. And he gets sent to the mountains on a spirit quest, right?
Yeah. It's basically, this is the part I've been waiting to talk to you about. So my thoughts were, they give him his book, so they tell him to go up in the mountain and don't come back until he's realized something, right? I mean, that's kind of what I got from it, right?
Right.
So he takes all of his books up there, and he's reading for days, freezing his ass off, right? No food, no water. And what's he do, Frank? He starts to burn the books for warmth.
Right.
And then he starts to laugh. And to me, it was a realization that nothing in those books mattered except for the warmth that they were giving him on fire to keep him alive.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was like,
I didn't put that together really, because I don't know, the monastery segment confused me a little bit. Just the way it was put together, because I don't know what he was doing with the water. He was like heating up water and like pouring it. And
he's making some kind of soup for them, because they called him the cook later. Remember?
Yeah. After he comes back, or when he's getting ready to leave. Yeah.
But to me, that's what I took away, was that his enlightenment was that he couldn't find any answers from these books. The only thing that those books were going to provide him would be warmth on fire to save him,
I definitely knew what they were going for with the spirit quest, but I didn't know exactly what they wanted him to pull from it. And I was kind of confused how he got all his books up there, but because he had a lot. It seemed like he had
a knapsack full, like a whole bunch. And he sat them down right when he gets there to that little, it's not even a enclosure, it's just like a two bamboo things, like a lean-to. But he throws the books in first, and it's like a old style backpack. But man, that to me was one of the most amazing parts of this movie. I was like, those monks were telling him in the most direct way possible that you're not going to find what you're looking for. It's just not going to happen. So
and then they say that whole they say the name of the movie at this point.
This is,
they say that exact thing that was in the synopsis, I believe.
Normally it could be cheesy, right? But this I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. There is a couple things I don't care for in this. The theme that they continue to drop in, it's so sickeningly sweet, and it almost sounds like it belongs in Gone with the Wind or something like that. I thought they like something more
the musical theme, you mean?
Yeah, like something more quaint would have worked better. Like some just simple piano, not such like it was all strings, and it sounded like old. Really, I guess it did. It would seem like a movie that was made in those times. So it kind of makes sense, I guess. But there's a lot of great detail, and from everything to the liquor bottles to the the environment, everything. That's why I think it was so expensive. But one of the great details is that Isabel, who Bill Murray is in love with two women in this movie. He starts out with Isabel, and then of course she says, "You're too poor. I don't like how you're living. I'm not going to follow you around the world paycheck to paycheck." And then he after what's her name, Sophie, after her husband and son die, he gets with her, and she gets herself clean, and they seem really happy. And
we got to preface that with she becomes an opium addict and a drunk because of her situation.
And I did not know she was on opium until the part where she's in the opium den. Like I didn't know that she had that problem before. I knew they had referenced drugs, but I must have missed something somewhere where she was actually using opium.
To me, it just kind of looked like it. The place she was in when they first encounter her, she's being sold off by this pimp. And I just, to me, kind of looked like that place, an opium den. And then when they actually showed her doing it at the end, I was like, oh, okay. But
But I love the detail that Isabel kept the ring that Bill proposed to her with on her other hand, as he said it as a reminder that someone will always love you or something like that. So it was sappy, pappy, mappy, whatever, but I
Right.
liked it. Even though, and I liked how Gray knew that she still loved him, because they would show him reacting to like moments where Bill was playing with their kids, or
Right.
seemed to be taking his place for a moment. And he didn't seem to mind it, which was,
Huh.
I don't know, respectable, I guess, in a character,
He
to,
seemed like not indifferent, but it was like he knew that if he died, they would be taken care of, kind of,
yeah, he understood it.
Yeah.
Something I didn't understand, Gray at one point gets really sick when Larry comes back. And
He's got PTSD, I believe.
oh,
That's
okay.
what I felt anyway.
But Larry does this whole, I'm assuming, some sort of Buddhist magic with a coin and a
Yeah.
hypnotism, and then Gray's just fine. He's just all right, snapped him right out of it.
I couldn't tell if that was supposed to be surreal on purpose or if it was just a tactic that he learned to deal with his own PTSD. You know what I mean?
It could be either way. It was,
Yeah.
regardless, it was a way for them to get Gray back into the mix and back with Isabel. And eventually, Bill and Sophie are preparing to get married, I believe. Is that what's going on?
They're really happy. They're painting their apartment. They're having a good time.
And they have this dinner with Isabel and Gray and Malcolm. What's his name? Marcus.
Marcus.
That's not his name in this movie, but regardless, they order some expensive alcohol or something, some special alcohol, and you can tell that she's tempted to drink it, and it's kind of pushed on her. And Sophie doesn't do it, but then Isabel makes sure to leave it there they buy a bottle to take home. She leaves it there for her. She ends up falling back into the opium den, and
that was evil, man. Like that to me, I would never talk to a person that did that to somebody I cared for ever again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
and it wasn't satisfying when Bill approached her about it either. I didn't think. I was like, no, you don't come in that, like, you just saw your fiance dead from this. Although she turned into a huge piece of shit when she was in that opium den and was like degrading him and stuff. So
yeah, that really made me mad too. She's rubbing that guy's dick and stuff. It was like going, he's my real man. You're just and he's got that Zen attitude now because of all the shit he's been through. So he's like, you don't really believe that? Let's go home.
Yeah. and at the end of this movie, they do like pull you in all kinds of different directions. Like it is manipulative to your emotions, I would say. And I almost teared up at the end when Denholm dies, but it's ham-fisted. When he says this line, or no, Bill Murray, no, and all of his friends have forgotten this old man, and he has a stroke, and Bill Murray makes it seem as though he got an invitation from a princess to a party, and it's
a party he's been trying to get into for like a decade.
Yeah. And so he reads off this fake invitation to him, and then he kind of know, you can tell that he knows that it's bullshit or whatever, but he goes along with it because, I mean, maybe he doesn't, but it seems like he kind of has it in his head. He's like, yeah, this is bullshit, but this guy's a nice dude and I appreciate this or whatever. But he like almost crosses his eyes when he passes away. It's like real goofy. They should have taken a few more runs at that scene, I think, maybe.
The part that got me was when he was like, please tell her I will not be able to attend.
That was good. And then, at the end of the movie, the butler, I think it's the butler, is talking to Larry, and he says, Larry says, I'm going home. And he says, but where is your home, Master Larry? And he says, America.
Yeah.
Fucking kidding me, man.
He knew by then. He'd been around the world, man.
Yeah. But overall, this was way better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, man.
I'll watch it again, probably. It's, I'm surprised I never saw it.
I can't believe I'd never seen it. And if you guys don't like there are people that don't like movies like this, and I'm not a huge fan of like this kind of stuff.
Neither am I. That's why it surprised
But
me how much I liked it, because it's a
that's what I'm
period
saying.
piece. It's a period piece from a time that I don't care for. Most of the stuff that's set in this time period, I'm not big on. But I think it's the actors, man. All the character actors, they're great, and the atmospheres. They did a good job. And Bill Murray had said that when he was the one that made the studio wanted to be made in 1980, whatever this was.
Right.
It was modern times for then, and Bill Murray pushed for it to be set in the past, time appropriate to the story. And he said recently that he was wrong. They should have said it in the present. And I don't think he's wrong at all. I think that was the best part about it, kind of.
I don't know how they could have done it. If they did, it would have changed a lot of things for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I was in a mood to watch something like this because of how sick I needed something like this, a little, because it's an uplifting story. Yeah, it's sad, but it's uplifting at the same time. But if you like there's literally 4 different movies stitched together here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a love story. There's something for everybody, is what I'm saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give it a shot, man, because it literally made me feel, when it was over, I went, man, that I ruminated on it for like a day.
Oh yeah.
Like there's so much shit in it that you can apply to your own life. I get why somebody would read that book and want to make it into a movie. It's really cool.
Sure. Yeah. And I don't think he failed at all. This movie gets a lot of shit. I saw a lot of negative reviews about it. And
did you read Ebert's?
No, I didn't.
Oh, he tears it a fucking part, dude.
Oh, I'm sure.
I looked it up, yeah.
Coming up next at the movies, Bill Murray has a serious side, and we'll look at his recent attempt to play a serious character.
I don't think I'm the guy you want to marry right now. This isn't the old Mr. Sunshine.
Many comic actors, Bill Murray wants to do more than make people laugh. They're never satisfied, these big stars. Jerry Lewis has wanted to be a serious actor for a long time, and he did a good job in The King of Comedy. Jackie Gleason was really superb in the drama The Hustler, and of course, Charlie Chaplin himself, the master, got serious toward the end of his career, too. And Bill Murray is trying to follow in their footsteps, and he doesn't want to play silly roles. So, in 1980, he made his first stab at a somewhat serious role, playing countercultural journalist Hunter S. Thompson in the political comedy Where the Buffalo Roam. Murray was okay, but the tone of the movie was wildly uneven, and we were never sure what kind of story this was supposed to be, comedy or political. It didn't have the confidence to be totally serious. Then Bill Murray got a little bit more serious. With Tootsie, he wasn't playing goofy Bill Murray. He was just doing a straight standard role with some good lines. That worked very, very well. He took the role without credit, another clever move. But he got a lot of credit because everyone noticed it was Bill Murray. Much more recently, using the clout of his participation in Ghostbusters as sort of a club, Bill Murray was able to do his first fully realized dramatic role in The Razor's Edge, playing a disillusioned young man trying to find out nothing less than the meaning of life. I enjoyed the film more as a study of what it means to be a good friend, and Bill Murray's character turns out to be a very dear friend of an unhappy woman in this film, played by Theresa Russell. There are tinges of the comic Bill Murray in this scene, but that works too, because who says everybody in a serious movie has to be serious all the time?
Here. I have these printed out for you.
Your poems. Oh, this is great. Now I'll have something to read to the guys in the trenches at night.
You used to like them.
Well, they're good. I always liked the poet.
I'm gonna miss you. You know, when we were kids, I was always terrified you were the guy I was gonna have to marry.
But you just couldn't control yourself, could you? Oh, Bob. Oh, Bob, don't. Oh, Bob, don't. Stop. Whatever you do, Bob, don't. Oh, Bob.
Well, he goes a little overboard there at the end. I don't think he has to. He's a better actor than that. The Razor's Edge is by no means a great film, but there is something quite wonderful about it, and you could see it in that scene where he gets, that one shot where he gets choked up. And what you can see there is the innate sweetness of Bill Murray that comes across at almost every moment in this story. He can act all right, but frankly, he's best when he just seems to be himself, his relaxed self, trying to do the right thing or the funny thing. He's a good person, and we see that, and that carries him a long way in the movies, I think.
I agree with that feeling about Murray when he's relaxed, but that's why I liked him ever so much more in Tootsie, where he was Dustin Hoffman's roommate, and he was giving him little advice. And you remember the great scene where he says, "Don't play too hard to get."
Right.
I liked him better there than I did in Razor's Edge, where he seems to be playing serious with a capital S. In other words, this is a serious movie. I have to be serious about it, and I thought as a result he was too laid back in this movie. You could see it almost, I thought, in this scene. He's standing back like this. He doesn't put himself into the scene. He doesn't put his personality into the scene. I think he's better off probably playing contemporary roles, people his own age, his own generation, and in doing that, as he did in Tootsie, there's nobody better.
Well, okay, we can keep arguing, I guess, about the Razor's Edge. Maybe that's not to the point here. I thought that his one mistake is that he didn't play it serious enough, maybe, that he tried to
go for a little comedy.
Go for comedy because, you know, it would be more marketable, and he's going to make the transition a little smoother. At any rate.
I think you're right about one thing, though, and that is his sweetness. He is such a nice person, innately almost, on screen, that even when he's mean, it doesn't really matter because we know he doesn't really mean it. You know, we were asking earlier if he is right in trying to have a serious career, and of course, that's what he wants to do, be serious as well as funny. That's okay, but there are a lot of serious actors, and they are all so very serious, and it is so hard to be funny, and it's even harder to be funny when you're not doing it with cheap laughs and cheap shots, but doing it with wit and with intelligence and with warmth, as Murray can do. It's so hard to do. He does it so well.
Yeah, even though I like the Razor's Edge, given my druthers, I'm with you. I'd rather see him keep on doing comedies, not necessarily summer camp teenage comedies, more comedies of a guy in his late 30s. I think that's what he is right now. And why not grow old with Bill Murray and have him grow and be funny? More like a career that, well, Woody Allen has sometimes.
I could see how a critic could do that very easily, because it is a selfish thing for him to have done that, to made this deal originally. Because if you think about how much money they had to put into this, it's just crazy. But I think it came out good, and I don't think, if he's ashamed of it at all, I can't understand that, because maybe he's not that proud of his performance, and he would have done it way better nowadays. You know, we've seen modern drama with Bill Murray where it's like he's perfect. You know,
he nails it. Yeah.
So, you know, he was young, and all he had done was comedy. So
I'll tell you what, if this was my first serious acting role, I would be super proud of it, because like, you literally can see his character change from the beginning of the film to the end, and to me, that's acting, man. You know,
I think that like I said, I think the movie would have been better if it was Richard Gere, William Hurt, somebody that was, you know, more of a serious actor at that time. But I think if Bill Murray would have just taken a producer role on this and filled that role with somebody like that, then his whole career would have been a different trajectory. He would have been a producer. He wouldn't have. I think it would have blown up. He would have won awards, and then, you know, it would have been a whole different life for him. But anyways, I think this is like an 8 out of 10 or so.
I'm right there with you. I put it at 8 out of 10. This is, to me, my first glimpse since we've been doing this of serious Bill Murray, you know, that we get to see, that you and I have known with Broken Flowers, etc. St. Vincent, right? And it, to me, is a glimpse into he was already smart at this age. Like, he saw something that could be made that could be amazing, and he fucking pulled out all the stops to get it done. So to me, 8 out of 10, man. I've been recommending this to people at my work. Everybody I know that, like, relative wise, I'm like, it's free, watch it. It takes, you know, one Sunday, you got nothing, there's no football right now, everybody's got COVID, fucking watch this movie.
It's a good movie for a Sunday, you know. Nice matinee. Anyways, up next on his IMDb is a bunch of kind of small nonsense things, which I think we'll cover all of his smaller little bit things in a special at the end. Like, when we're done, we'll just go back and pick up bits and pieces, because right in a row, it's, you know, Ghostbusters music video, because this movie came out after Ghostbusters but was filmed before it. So strange. Then he was in Little Shop of Horrors, but that's smaller than his segment in Loose Shoes, I believe.
Right.
And so we'll pick up on that later, and then we'll talk. He's in a Buster Poindexter video for Hot Hot Hot. We'll talk about that when we get to it. When we just pick up all these little pieces where we can just discuss his weird shit he did. And he's in. She's having a baby, but he's uncredited, and he plays himself, I believe. I've never seen that movie, so I don't even know if we'll bother watching that or just find the clip with him in it.
I honestly think I saw it once years ago, and I couldn't even tell you who's in it.
I don't think we're going to watch that whole movie, but if we skip all that stuff, it leads us right to 1988's Scrooged, which lands right in December. So that's
like one of my favorites, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we got a lot of good stuff in a row. Like, let me pull it up here because it is really like 5 in a row that are just knocking it out of the park. I can't remember what it is though, because it seems like such a huge jump from Ghostbusters to Scrooged, doesn't it? Like,
yeah,
I mean the way he looks and everything.
Yeah, he looks older in Scrooged by a lot, actually. When's Ghostbusters 2? Was that after Scrooged?
That was, I think, 1992. That's one of the ones that's coming up. Actually, maybe it's not. Maybe it's 1990, because I think that is one of the ones that's coming up fairly soon.
I'm just saying, in Scrooged, he looks super old for some reason.
I don't know. Oh, I'm having a hard time pulling up my internet here. God damn it. I'm on the internet in a million different ways, so it's... I got all these browser pages pulled up and shit.
Uh-oh.
Anyways.
You don't have any like Palmer had up, do you?
No. He's into a different fare than I am. Yeah. I can't pull IMDb up for some fucking reason. Oh, maybe. Hold on. It's coming. Oh, God, maybe not.
What do you got, dial up over there?
No, I got Zoom pulled up, and every time I'm zooming, it's really a hard thing to get things to come up when I need them to. Oh well. Regardless, Ghostbusters 2 is coming up fairly soon. I wish I could list them all off. Damn it, Ray.
I wish I would have known. I would have looked ahead of time.
Oh wait, I got to pull. It popped up. Here we go. Right. Now I just got to search Bill Murray. Let's see how long it takes. Hopefully, my mom doesn't pick up the phone and mess our whole internet connection up. You know.
She'll probably tell you to go to bed. It's late.
What are you doing on the internet? It's too late.
Okay, you and Randy down there watching that movie?
Oh yeah, actually, here we go. After Scrooged is Ghostbusters 2. That's 1989. I thought it was in the 90s, man. Damn, but it goes Ghostbusters 2, then Quick Change, then What About Bob, then Groundhog Day, then Mad Dog and Glory. Then Ed Wood, Kingpin, Larger Than Life, Space Jam, The Man Who Knew Too Little, Wild Things. He's in Wild Things?
Yeah, just a small part.
We'll have to figure out what ones, you know. Oh, then I've never heard of With Friends Like These. Rushmore is coming up. We got a lot of good stuff.
Man, he really hits his stride in the 90s too. That's when everything is good.
Yeah.
I don't mind watching any of those again.
Have you seen Quick Change?
Yeah, long time ago.
It's got Randy Quaid in it. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And if we can say something really quick, Randy Quaid, I know you watch our stuff.
Come back.
Could you please get back on your medicine and come back to America? I mean,
oh man, is he in jail? Wasn't he arrested or had somebody was chasing him?
He did a video the other day telling Donald Trump to not give up the fight.
Oh,
he's in Canada.
Wow.
Yeah,
that sucks.
So I'm like, I'm like, dude, get back on your medicine and come down here and hang out with us.
We need to send Dennis and go have him straighten him out. You know?
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder, like, Dennis, what are you doing?
That's just Randy. That's what he does.
Yeah. So he needs to get up there and get some pills in him. You know?
Yeah. God, he's gonna die and won't even have put out. I wonder what his last thing he put out was.
Well, that I know. He put out a video where he's getting blown.
I don't think that's on his IMDb.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
I stumbled on that one once and Let me tell you, not fun.
Evidently, he was in a movie called All You Can Eat in 2018, and Balls Out, Gary the Tennis Coach in 2009. Yeah, not a lot of good stuff. He was in Brokeback Mountain.
Was he?
Evidently.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I mean, he was doing Oscar stuff. All right.
I want to. I got to see some of this because he was in an Elvis TV miniseries, played Colonel Tom Parker.
Yeah, that's got to happen. I need to see that too.
That's right. All right. Well, let's end this.
Sorry, that'll be our next podcast. Randy Quaid down the rabbit hole.
Oh man, if we did his movies, we would start with, let's see, The Last Picture Show, 1971.
That's a good movie.
I've never seen it. I haven't seen most of his early stuff, honestly.
God, I can't believe he started acting way back in the 70s, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he was in an episode of Night Gallery from 1972. Jesus. That'd be a real rabbit hole there, man, because none of this shit looks familiar at all. He was in a TV version of Mice and Men playing Lenny. Are you kidding me?
we got to track that down for sure. I need to see that.
Wow. Okay, well, look forward to that. Our next series.
So up next will be Scrooged, you said, right?
Yeah, Scrooged falls right on the holidays, and then Ghostbusters 2 after that. So yeah,
right.
we'll have some fun. And we'll see you guys next time, and we'll have a Merry Christmas.
Yep. See you later. Bye.